Our next dude, number 6 on the list, is a Atlanta Braves pitcher, Max Fried.
Yeah, Max Fried, great pitcher. I have him going to either the Mets, the Braves, the Orioles, the Red Sox, all the usual suspects, everybody who needs pitching and has plenty of money. I've got him going 185 million over 7 years. I just don't know where. If I had to guess, I'd say he'd probably stay with the Braves, but I have no idea on Max Fried. Your thoughts?
My problem with Max Fried, he's a stud. He's had some incredible years. It's just, where do people trust the full-on health? I know he made 29 starts this year, but like, are they 100% confident in him? Right, and that's only going to be for some of my stuff here. But again, like, he's an absolute stud. I see him going back to the Braves. I see that it was being a good relationship, unless there's something there behind closed doors that we don't know about. I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, he's been a Brave. Like, let him stay a Brave. That's what I see. From a money standpoint, yeah, I give it one less year. Same thing with like kind of Bregman. I'll take one less year on that. I don't think he's going to get to 7. I don't think anybody's going to look out there and go to 38 years old. So I think we're going to get 6 years. 6 years, what that works out to be, 155.
Something like that. But here's my thing. I'm giving him 185 over 7 because that brings his AAV down to 26 and a half. And I think teams are looking to keep the AAV down so that way they stay under the luxury tax. And in this case, you've got a guy who's going to stay there long term. He's going to want. What would you rather do? Would you rather give him 4 years with big money up front, or would you rather him have that reasonable AAV, even though you're probably going to have to eat 2 or 3 years at the end, but it puts you in a better position for the luxury tax?
I'm gonna take. Well, for me, it depends on the player, depends on the age. There's times
31.
There's at 31. So that for me, it's him. Keep the AAV down, like I said, but I still don't think you need to go to 7. I think you can keep the $24 million AAV-ish, 24-ish, and just give him the 6. And that's still going to be a really good number. It's going to be super competitive with other teams out there. And I do think he ends up going back to the Braves.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right. Number 5, super under the radar. This is a solid, very, very solid player. Stud.
I love this guy.
Dude, love him because he is just a baller. Willy Adames of the Milwaukee Brewers. All the Brewers know how to do is win.
Or Willy Adames, if you want to be. I know you were being facetious, but it's Willy Adames for all of you watching. Don't give Ards any hate tweets. He knows exactly who it is. People don't know when you're joking. You're not very good at that. FYI.
That's the point. That's the idea. Is like it's supposed to be under the radar. You're not supposed to know.
Yeah.
What was the other one? It was Michael Jordan.
Yeah. When I said, hey,
totally under the radar, just go with it. Like, act and like it's supposed to catch you. That's the point. That's the point of jokes. Anyway. If I told you it's a joke, like that's like that's not a joke.
Anyway, Willy Adames, 29 years old. He is, and there's something that I missed on that little file. If you're watching here on YouTube, you can see we made this pretty little file with the teams that I think he might go to, but I missed the biggest one, and I think this is where he's going to end up going if he doesn't re-sign with the Brewers. The Dodgers. They need him at shortstop. I think he is the perfect fit. He will go, he's just perfect, and I'm going to give him 150 over 6 years.
I think it's smart. I actually agree with you. It's really interesting you said the Dodgers because that was my first one that I was thinking of. It's absolutely perfect spot for him. I think it makes a whole lot of sense. The only thing about it is Tommy Edman played pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you sit there and say, Tommy Edman, you're my Dodger shortstop? Or when you're saying Willy Adames, my God. Now I started screwing myself up. When you see him out there, do you go for him, or do you go with who's in house? I think they need to say, like, he's so good defensively, he's so good offense. Like, he brings this energy. He reminds me of Kike so much. just like Kike when he was like super younger and better, right? Like that energy and him being there and being somewhere else too and winning. What do you do? Where do you go? Like, because that's a big question. Like, do you take the guy in house or do you go out of house and keep spending more money? Eventually, at some point, it's going to catch up to the Dodgers.
So I was listening to our good friends Jim Bowden and Jim Duquette yesterday on MLB Network Radio. If you are ever in the car and you have the opportunity to listen to those two, they have that front office show, which is just fantastic. So much love to our guys over there. Jim Bowden said something really, really smart. Teams way too often, like especially after they win a championship, they say, hey, this guy got us the championship, let's reward him. He brought up the example of Aubrey Huff with the San Francisco Giants, and they gave him a terrible contract because they wanted to make give him his due for what he did. And I don't think the Dodgers are that type of organization. I think they're smart enough to realize, hey, there's a great option out there. Yes, we are very happy with Tommy Edman and what he did for us, but we are looking to build a dynasty over the next 5-6 years while we have those guys. Willy Adames just fits. He's that guy. He should be a Dodger. If he's not a Brewer, I would love to see him on the Mets. I don't think that's going to happen, though.
And they need somebody in that second half of that lineup too to add a little bit more. I mean, but again, you're looking at this team. You're like, no matter how many times we say it, they still have holes in the back end of that lineup. Like guys that stepped up, got a little here, a little there. But we didn't see, in all reality, right? We didn't see a Max Muncy, Edman, Lux, any of these guys really just dominate baseball games. They had their moments.
Yeah,
but like Willie can do that and play a great baseball, a great shortstop any day of the week. You've got no questions. You just plug and play. And then you what happens is when you have a guy like him, you tend to get to that top of the order quicker. And it seems like those guys are getting more appearances, and you're still trying to figure out why, but it's because of guys like this that they're just constantly creating action on the base pass. At the plate, like defensively, they're taking the pressure off those guys. They don't have to be a superstar, and that's a beautiful part about what he's going to be able to do. And that's one thing they do have to figure out, right? When you're sitting there in Milwaukee, and you don't have the pressure every single night.
Yep.
You're a great baseball team, but you don't have that pressure. There's a different pressure.
You don't have 50 reporters in there every night.
Is he flourishing because of that? And does he feel like he's the stud? Does he feel like the spotlight's on him so he gets to enjoy that? And then you go to LA and the spotlight's not on him. It's on the team. And there's pressure. There's pressure there to win every night, but it's on, it's on Betts, it's on Ohtani, it's on Freeman, it's on that rotation. And does he kind of feel like to the wayside, like, oh, I'm just nobody now? So that's the interesting thing. Like, you got to find that out from a mentality standpoint if you can, to see if somebody like him is going to excel or actually decline. Because I think there's a big part to be a big fish in a small pond where you excel, and then you get to be a small fish in a big pond and you just kind of fall to the wayside, and you don't have that little extra like look at me type. Some guys want the look at me attitude. Soto wants to look at me, like check me out, and
I don't think so at all. But anyway,
I think what it is, it's not a dickhead, it's not a cocky attitude. It's like he loves the spotlight. He loves to be up at the plate when the game's on the line in Yankee Stadium. And there's a difference with a guy with Willie when he has that spot, but then you go to Dodger Stadium, you don't anymore, right? Because it ends up being Ohtani, ends up being Betts, ends up being Freeman. They cheer louder for those guys than they will ever cheer for Willie, no matter how good he is. Soto was different, right? Like Soto comes up and like gets the loudest cheer you'll ever hear, and then Judge the same. And so it's like he gets that energy, that little extra moment. If he goes to Miami, he might just fall off the face of the earth because you don't have those moments where some guys go to Miami and they just excel because they don't care about that.
Yeah. I don't know. I just look at Willy Adames and I think Francisco Lindor light.
Yeah. I see Francisco Lindor light and Kike Hernandez heavy.
Yeah.
I think
if Kike and Lindor had a baby, it would be Willy Adames or William Adams.
All right, number 4, Cy Young winner, 5 and dive extraordinaire, Blake Snell. you later. I'm out after I threw 5 innings and 25 strikeouts. I don't want to pitch the 6th.
Yeah, and I think that's the big problem with him. He's, he's 31, almost 32 years old. He's that guy that'll only give you 5 innings. I personally don't think that he is worth giving a major contract to. I think he's that guy that you just say, hey, here's a 3-year deal. Here's $100 million. Thank you. Do your thing, but I'm not going 7 years. And that's what I'm predicting: $100 million over 3 years for Blake Snell, and I don't know where the hell he's gonna go because
I think you're absolutely insane.
Okay.
One, this is the worst prediction you've ever had. This is personal versus what he's actually gonna get. You got personal.
No, I don't know Blake. How am I gonna say it's personal?
You got personal. This dude, he's gonna get $45 million a year. He's in a 40 a year. Like
he's gonna get 40 a year.
He's in 40.
I do not think so, my friend.
He had 14 starts after his IL appearance this year. Do you know his numbers after that?
They were ridiculous. He was amazing.
1.2.
He's a 5-inning pitcher.
He was 5-0 with a 1.2 and a 38% strikeout rate. James, 38%. James, I was a strikeout pitcher. I was 24%. He is a starter. He was a starter at 30. Actually, I looked that up. I wasn't all that bad one compared to the rest of the league. Anyways,
fair enough.
He was a 38%. His whip was under 1. I mean,
all right. So tell me what's he gonna get?
He also threw a no-hitter, and he was a Cy Young winner last year.
So, all right. So if he was anybody else, if he wasn't a 5-inning pitcher, I would say give him 210 over 7 years or 6 years. But I'm not doing that. If I'm the GM, if I'm Jim Duquette or if I'm Jim Bowden, I'm not giving him more than 3 years.
I think the biggest problem, and this is what's going to affect GMs more than anything, because they know exactly who he was. One, this is actually the first time he's pitched more than like 6 innings, right? We actually started going out there and doing normal starter stuff with Cy Young winner stuff.
And why did he do that?
What?
And why did he do that?
Because I think he finally wanted to prove he could.
I think it's because it was his walk year.
I think it was because he was a Ray, and the Rays raised him to be a 5 and dive. You don't do anything more than this. I think he also has an attitude of I don't have to, and that's what Major League Baseball wants, and that's true. It's actually correct, and that's a problem with it. Is some guys still have an old school mentality, some guys have a new school mentality, and this is what Major League Baseball wants. I don't think they care. And if you look at the starters in the World Series and all this stuff, like 5 and dive is a great start now, and he is made for Major League Baseball 2024. Blake Snell is literally the Major League Baseball equivalent of 2024, 2025. If you could explain what pitching is, just use his picture, be like 5 and dive, a lot of strikeouts. He's going to get $40 million. But the biggest thing that GMs are going to shy against, this dude signed a massive deal and took a walk on his first year. Left the contract. He got the money he wanted, then opted out. I don't blame him for opting out. Don't blame him. I just don't understand where he thinks he's going to get more and all this stuff. I don't know. There's something in there probably. I'm sure that he's going to get more money or more guarantees or something. But I have a problem with the GM that going, okay, to even negotiate with you, I need to put in opt-outs. And then you're going to opt out. Like, why am I going to waste my time and waste my money, waste my fans' energy on you if you're just going to opt out? Like, okay, why don't I just give you a 1-year deal, dude? Unless you suck, then you're going to stay in. And that's my problem with this. And that's where I think GMs are going to have a giant phone call with him and slap him across the face with reality and say, something's got to give here. And I'm not going to give you opt-out, but he's going to fight for an opt-out. And this dude is going to sit there and hold out again and hold out again. And that's maybe the only reason he doesn't get 40 a year is just because he holds out. But at the same time, it's going to be, I still think it's going to be close. So for me, for my money, for everything, he sounds perfect for the Mets and to ruin the organization.
If he's a Met, I'm going to be pissed. All right, move on.